Hi everyone, my name is Aya, and I'm delighted to be your moderator for today's workshop titled Securing Research Grants at Home and Abroad, Proven Strategies from Kazakhstani Grant Recipients. This event is proudly organized by the Kazakh International Science and Technology Association, and we are thrilled to have you join us today. We have a packed and valuable session ahead. Whether you are a PhD student, postdoc, or an experienced researcher looking for strengthening your next proposal, you are in the right place. Today's speakers bring real-world experience in securing national and international research funding, and we hope you'll walk away with practical insights. Before we begin, a quick reminder. If you have any questions during the presentations, please feel free to type them in the chat as they come up. We'll gather them and address them during the Q&A session in the end. To officially kick off the session, I would now like to invite Professor Seruk Mirmanov, the president of the Kazakh International Science and Technology Association, to officially open our session. And I would like to also give a word to Ghalimjan Isabekov, the founder of our association.
Thank you, Aya. I believe we have a presentation in Russian language today, right? So if it's okay, I could switch to the Russian language. Окей. Добрый день, уважаемые коллеги, друзья. Я рад приветствовать вас от имени ассоциации в нашем сегодняшнем семинаре. Приятно видеть здесь молодых ученых, исследователей, которые стремятся воплотить свою научную идею в жизнь. Сегодня мы поговорим о важном аспекте нашей работы, о том, как получить финансирование для научных исследований. Умение грамотно составить заявку на грант – это умение рассказать свою историю о вашем исследовании. Гранты – это своего рода топливо для двигателя научного прогресса, и они позволяют нам закупать оборудование, привлекать таланты, проводить эксперименты, делиться результатами с миром. Освоение этого навыка – это не формальность, это реальный инструмент, который открывает двери к новым возможностям как внутри Казахстана, так и за рубежом. Это ваш шанс внести значимый вклад, усилить позиции казахстанской науки в мире и, конечно, ускорить собственную карьеру. Не буду скрывать, путь к успешному гранту – это тернистый путь. Бывают отказы, бывают сложности, но именно поэтому так важно учиться обмениваться опытом и перенимать лучшие практики. И сегодня у нас есть уникальная возможность поучиться настоящих профессионалов, у людей, которые знают систему грантов с разных сторон и добились огромных успехов. С нами доктор Aliya Sembaeva. Она не только заместитель председателя правления научного фонда Казахстана, но и национальный координатор программы Horizon Europe в Казахстане. Это уникальное сочетание ролей дает ей глубокое понимание как национальных механизмов финансирования, так и европейских стандартов. Кто, как не она, может рассказать о навигации в этих сложных, но перспективных водах. Также мы услышим сегодня доктора Абдuzhappara Gaipova, доцента медицинской школы Назарбаев университета. Доктор Gaipov – это успешный практикующий ученый, который сам прошел путь получения грантов. У него огромный список проектов, он знает все тонкости подводные камни с точки зрения исследования. У него огромный список публикаций, он уходит, я думаю, в топ, в один из топ список наших медиков, которые имеют огромный список публикаций. Так что его опыт – это бесценный источник практических советов и стратегий. Так что спасибо, что присоединились к нам сегодня. Желаю вам продуктивной и интересной сессии.
Ghalimjan, please.
Yeah,
The floor is yours.
hello. Yeah, hello everyone. My name is Ghalimjan Isabekov. So quickly, why we're using English for this platform today, since our organization, not only for Kazakhstani scientists, but only Central Asian as well. So our standard is using English language for the meetings. So this is explanation why we're using English. So first of all, we're grateful for today's session that you're joining, and quickly about our association, Kazakh International Science Technology Association. We have more than 100 members, including PhD, postdocs, and professors from top universities. And we started our work from 2014. And if you're interested, you're welcome to joining our dynamic and welcoming community. So quickly about our team. We have president, vice president, secretary, global affair lead. I think most of you know these people, and also ambassadors from different countries: Hong Kong, China, Canada, Japan, and Northern Europe. All of them, some of them are postdocs, some of them already established scientists, some of them working in industry. And very quickly, what we're trying to do is maintain, strengthen, and develop common intellectual and cultural space of Kazakh scientists community around the globe. And how we will get that? We created this hub for scientific collaboration and public outreach to enhance qualification and global visibility of Kazakhstani scientists. And as you know, our president of our association, Serk Mirmanov, is also attended as a member of National Council of Science and Technology for president in Kazakhstan. And he often attending these meetings, knowing what's happening, and we're also trying to be on the same pace what's happening in science in Kazakhstan and trying somehow contribute it. So what we events that we organize is guest of honor seminar series, where we every month we invite established scholars from diverse academic fields around the globe and share their journey and various academic systems, discussing challenges, turning points, and yeah. Other than that, we have another one, guest of honor tech talks series, the people that transition from academia to industry and launches their own tech startups. And they also coming here and sharing their perspectives, and we found that very useful for our audience. Other than that, we have panel discussions where it's 3 to 4 distinguished experts, and this session mainly designed to provide diverse perspective on the topics relevant to Kazakhstan scientific and tech landscapes. And last one, in fellowship and grant supports, we invite international academic institutions and funding bodies to provide some insights and feedbacks on supporting and applying for granting programs. And here you can see from 2014 to 2024, we organized more than 35 online and offline meetings. This is the previous guests. On the left side, guests of honor seminar series. On the right side, panel discussions. Some of the speakers you know already. And other than that, we have another project is led by Qonashir Ghaliyev, is 100 Kazakh alum, prominent scientists around the globe, where he interviews them and they're sharing some insight with the work that they're doing. All these recordings are available on our YouTube channel. So you're welcome to rewatch all this amazing session with amazing speakers. Yeah, and regarding panel discussion, as you know, last year we have a big disaster in Kazakhstan, flood, and we thought about we need to do something, and so we invited international and local speakers. Friedrich Hudson from Netherlands, he was invited by embassy of Netherlands in Kazakhstan. So we also invited him, recorded this session, and all these feedbacks had been sent to relevant organizations. And last one, as I said, one of our parts that we organize fellowship programs. So last month we organized Kazakh and Japan and Kazakhstan and Central Asian Academic Exchange by Takeda Science Foundation, very famous and established organizations that provide opportunity for medical doctors every year, 10 grants from the world. So they come to our platform, talk about this program, and share some insight. If you're interested, you still can watch on our YouTube channel. And collaborators, we also work with other associations and universities. It's Kazakh Association of PhDs in North America. They are our good colleagues, and also Narhoz University, Alam Project, and others. And what we're also trying to do to establish contacts with Kazakhstani universities and foreign universities that opening branch in Kazakhstan, so to understand what kind of necessities they have in terms of position, academic position, or collaborative projects. Yeah. And last, we have this worldwide map of Kazakh researchers on our website, where you can find a researcher, and if you're going to some conference, you can meet with them, and you have all contact information, as you can see on the left corner. Yeah, and last one, this year we have Summer Eurocamp 2025 as a place in person where we invite all Kazakh academics working around the globe to join us to have 3-4 days of Bavarian hiking and also some program. So if you're interested, please reach out. And if you want to be a member, we have a lot of bonuses. Please go to our website, fill out the form, and we will contact with you. And if you're interested about updates, what's happening, you can join our Telegram channel. You can quickly scan or go to our website and be updated with everything that's happening today. Yep, with this, I'm stopping my talk and giving it to Aya. So Aya will introduce today's speakers. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you, Serek, for giving your welcome speech. And thank you, Ghalamjan, for introducing our association, what we do. Our first speaker is Dr. Aliya Sembaeva, Deputy Chair of the Science Fund of Kazakhstan and National Coordinator for Horizon Europe in Kazakhstan. Dr. Sembaeva is a dynamic leader whose career bridges academia, industry, and public service. She had taught at the University of Birmingham, Nazarbayev University, and the University of Liverpool. Her leadership experience includes key roles at Samruk-Kazana and the Center for Scientific and Technological Initiatives. She also served as the president of the Kazakh PhD Association in the UK and was recognized by Forbes 30 Under 30 for her impact and leadership. Today, she'll be sharing actionable strategies on writing competitive research proposals and effectively navigating both local and international funding systems. Dr. Sembaeva, the floor is yours.
Thank you. Thank you, dear colleagues. First of all, let me thank your association for inviting me today and to have this opportunity to talk about Horizon Europe and how actually researchers abroad can start collaborative projects with Kazakhstani organizations and Kazakhstani researchers. So let me share my presentation. It is quite a long one, but I will talk only about the first half of this presentation. The second half is attached as an appendix. So actually it's about technical part, how to use the tender portal and other different technical strategies. So Horizon Europe is the biggest research and innovation program in the world with a budget about 100 billion euros for 7 years. It is actually the 7th EU framework program for research and innovation. It will finish in 2027 and the 8th program will start from 2028. It is a governmental program which aims to reach certain scientific, economical, and social impacts by research and innovation. So here you can see the overview of the program, and on the next slide, how to make it bigger, F5. Like this one. So here you can see key objectives of this program as well as KPIs. So you can see that EU plans to achieve a certain level of GDP in 25 years using this program, as well as to create new jobs and find solutions for social, environmental, and other global challenges using technology and science. If we talk about the mechanism of this program, so EU has policy, has strategies, which further decompose into strategic orientations with expected impacts. And based on this strategic plan, work programs for research and innovation is created. And projects which are products of this working program must have scientific, social, economic, and technological impacts. And the structure of this program is divided into 3 main pillars: Pillar 1, Pillar 2, and Pillar 3. For Kazakhstan, Pillar 1 and Pillar 2 are eligible. So that's why we will talk only about these 2 pillars. So Pillar 1. The key idea of this pillar is to use bottom-up approach. When researcher has idea, has a project, and he or she can write research proposal and apply for this grant. So it is similar to Kazakhstani grant funding system. It is divided also into 3 main parts: European research grant. It has also several stages: starting, consolidator, and synergy. Research infrastructure. This grant is to fund infrastructure, and Marie Skłodowska-Curie Action. This grant is for PhD students as well as postdocs. So I also attached links here. So for further details, you can go and read in more details about these programs. The biggest pillar is Pillar 2. It is divided into 5 main parts. The first one is research and innovation action. This type is for fundamental as well as applied research. So it is fully funded by EU side. Innovation action. It is similar to commercialization grants, which actually Science Fund provide in Kazakhstan. So here, profit companies must provide co-funding in 30% of the sum amount. Coordination and support action. This grant is for partnerships. Training and mobility actions. It aims to create career opportunities for students so it's kind of capacity building grant. Innovation and market deployment actions. So this grant can be classified as a post-commercialization grant. When you have already your product, you have first sales, and you actually plan to scale up this product. So here you can also see that for profit organizations, they must provide co-funding also in 30%. For non-profit organizations, Horizon Europe grant covers 100% of costs. I also want to provide project cases in different areas. The first one in rare earth metals. So as we know, it is quite trendy topic now, and in Kazakhstan also. And here I want to highlight it is one of the priority. One of our priorities as the National Coordination Center, because Kazakhstan and EU has certain memorandum between our governments, and now actually I think in April, now is April, so by the end of April or May, the roadmap for further collaboration, including science, will be signed by our governments. So here you can see that EU has policy like Critical Raw Materials Act, and based on this act, this project was developed. The second case is in green energy. So it is about the commercialization of ocean energy systems. And the third one is in social sciences. So this project aimed to study big companies with different subsidiary companies within. So how they cooperate, what kind of policies they have, and how to make this system more just, let's say. I also provided links at the end of each project case. You can read about them in more details and see what kind of results they achieved. Horizon Europe has additional portal. The name of this portal is Cordis. If you want to read about projects which were funded before by the EU government, you can go to this link, write keywords. So in the second part of this presentation, you can read in more details how to use this portal. So if you go to this portal, you can write keywords of your interest area, for example, water management, and you can see what kind of projects were funded before, and not only in the framework of Horizon Europe, but actually from the beginning of the EU framework programs, from the first program. You can see there what kind of partners were in the project, how much money they received, what kind of results they achieved, and also publications and patents. The question that we usually have from Kazakhstani organizations are they eligible for this program? Yes, they are eligible. There are several categories in this program. EU member states, which automatically receive funding from Horizon Europe. Associative countries like UK. I'm not sure about Japan, but I think Japan is also part of this list. And also third countries. Third countries divide into two. Third countries which can automatically receive funding, and third countries which cannot automatically receive money. And Kazakhstan is in the list of the third countries which can automatically receive funding from Horizon Europe, from EU. But there is a requirement. So organizations which apply for this program must be in consortium. So at least 3 independent legal entities from EU member state or associative countries must be in this group. And Kazakhstani organizations can be part of this consortium also. How to start? So before you plan to apply for this program, you need to find your topic. What is good in this program? Actually, topics and working programs are published beforehand. So actually, in about 6 months or 1 year before when the working program will start, you can see the technical specification on the website. You can find your topic on the tenders portal and then think about your consortium. We, as a National Coordination Center in Kazakhstan, don't recommend Kazakhstani organizations be a leader of this consortium. Why? Because there are certain rules, certain policies in the EU, and unfortunately, we don't have this experience to work with this policy. That's why we recommend to be a partner of this consortium. And also partners of this consortium but should have history of previous cooperation. It is good to have some joint publications or joint events when organizations already know each other, when they trust each other. It is hard to partner, unfortunately, with organizations, with EU organizations which you don't know or they don't know you. That's why we recommend start from something small. For example, find your colleagues in different events, networking events, and think how you can work together. For example, to apply for small projects or invite them as experts to your projects in Kazakhstan, have joint events or joint publications, and then start your dialogue to apply for Horizon Europe for bigger projects. So you need to know your consortium like 6 months before, when actually the program will open, and then in 6 months you need to write proposal. But here partners usually add details or writes certain parts of the proposal, but consortium leader write a whole proposal, and then work with different partners to add more details. And then you'll go through evaluation stages. Evaluation lasts about 6 months. about 4 to 6 months. If we look at the statistics, so I provide here statistics in the first half of 2024, and we see the growth in the second half of 2024, like 3 additional grants were signed by Kazakhstani organizations. 3 new organizations were added to the list, and we see additional growth in success rate, as well as in the number of eligible proposals and number of applications. So now let's talk about our activities as a National Coordination Center. In May 2023, by the order of our ministry, the Science Fund was appointed as a National Coordination Center of the EU framework programs, and since October 2023, we started our job from the information dissemination point and awareness raising. We also work with our EU colleagues, which are NCPs in different EU countries, so that we could consult on application procedures. We organize different trainings and workshops by ourselves or with our colleagues from the EU. We also try to help in partner search, and definitely we are working in the area of ensuring confidentiality and preventing conflicts of interest. Despite Science Fund, we have 3 additional thematic coordinators. So our universities, certain people in administration of universities work as thematic NCPs. For example, Nazarbayev University is responsible for energy cluster. Satpayev University is responsible for Marie Curie actions. East Kazakhstani Technical University is responsible for industry and digitalization. So if you have questions specifically in these areas, we can connect with our coordinators in this area, and then they can consult you how to find partners, or they can help you to find partners in this area. But we as a National Coordination Center coordinate this job and also responsible for other parts, for other clusters. So I think I will finish there. I can provide our email, and if you have any questions related to Horizon Europe in Kazakhstan, we can share more details with you. And also we are planning actually event in May 20th and 21st of May in Almaty with our Italian and Czech colleagues to help Kazakhstani organizations to find partners in the green energy area. So if you are in Almaty, please connect us, and we will be very happy to see you at our event. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Sembaeva, for sharing some details about Horizon Europe and encouraging our audience to reach out in case they have any questions about your presentation and what's written there. I would like to introduce our next speaker. We are honored to hear from Dr. Abduzhappar Gaipov, an associate professor at Nazarbayev University School of Medicine and a board-certified nephrologist. Dr. Gaipov has conducted research both in Kazakhstan and abroad, including a prestigious ISN research fellowship at the University of Tennessee Health Science Center. He has published over 90 peer-reviewed papers and served as an editor and reviewer for several scientific journals. Today, he'll speak about his experience leading national and internationally funded research projects and provide guidance on how to navigate challenges in the grant application process. Dr. Gaipov, welcome.
Thank you very much, Aliya. Hello, everyone. Can you hear me? So can you see my screen?
Yes.
So again, thank you very much for inviting me to this very good and interesting meeting, and thank you for previous presenter and all chairman, Serik and Galmjan, because it's really challenging now to apply for grants, and I think it's very interesting, especially for young researchers who want to apply for grants. So today I want to share my own experience how to apply for grants. Again, 30 minutes is not sufficient to cover all topics, so I will be stopping just some tips and some my own experience. So I will talk about the very shortly grant call documentation and technical part, and I will be also speaking about preparing the scientific proposal and application. And the very important part is the reviewers' comments, which is a very important part, because most of the mistakes we do without accounting the possible questions that can answer reviewer during the review your application. So if you look at the general grant application process, so first of all, of course, we have to provide research idea, and then we usually draft the proposal, and as soon as Minister of Science and Higher Education or other organization, they announce the call for application, we apply, and then usually technical, all grant proposals, they go through the technical review. Unfortunately, during the technical review, if you don't provide the feedback and improve your technical part, they will reject your application. To the application who proceed to the next stage, they will they will send to the external and internal reviewers. As soon as they get your final scores, the National Scientific Council, we call NNS, they discuss your proposal, and they approve or they reject based on the threshold scores. And then after the several months, decision by the ministry and funding by the ministry, of course, as soon as you get your approval, and then you make some contracts with the Minister of Science and Higher Education with your organization, and then you start your proposal. And each year you provide some annual reports and complete your project. So I will talk about mostly about the Minister of Science and Higher Education grant. So you can go through its National Center of Science and Technical Evaluation, which usually provides all coordinator and collecting the application. And then you can see the announcement for the 2024, 2025, the several announcements. And then as a personal researcher, through your organization, you have to register in the information system of this organization and provide your profile, full profile. To date, we have different type of proposals from the Ministry of Science and Higher Education. It is the grant funding, it is the program targeting fund, it is the grant for young research, young scientists, which is also very good. And there is also competition for grant funding for the young scientists under the project of Jas Ghalum. I think this grant is applicable for the PhD students who are in the stage of defending their dissertation. And there is also commercialization programs. Of course, it's very important. One of the important part is the call documentation. So, or sometimes we can call bidding documentation. So, call documentation is very important. In the call documentation, you can find the general information about the grant, name of priority and specialization science direction. So there is a 7 part, for example, as a physician and in medical science. So usually apply for life science direction. You can find the qualification requirements for the organization, for scientific supervisor and research group. It's very important. Sometimes they can say, so 50% of your grants supposed to be young researchers under the age of 40. So your PI of the supervisor of the project should have at least 2 publications for the last 5 years, and so on, so on. And of course, your organization is supposed to be accredited for scientific projects. And then you can find the documentation requirement for participation in the call, requirement from the other partners, and then you can see you can find the process of submitting the application for CAL, requirement for expected results, and for publication, and in general program funding. So this information is very important. So usually all organizations, as soon as ministry announce the call, all organizations, they provide some training, some information session, and for their employers. It's very important, because based on the call documentation, if you do some mistake or if you don't fill the requirement for the call documentation, your proposal will be rejected. So everything you do, you provide during your application will be go to the zero, and possibly you will miss your time. So at this stage, for example, there is requirement for expected results. Once I made some mistake, and my application was rejected in the technical review. So I changed the percentage of Scopus percentile. So they were saying that there is the 35 percentile, but I wanted to improve and I put 50%. So I actually changed the requirement for the expected results. So that was the reason for rejecting so I lost 1 year for this proposal, and of course applied next year, and it would get accepted. So it's very important to go through the all call documentation. So of course I don't want to provide all information, but based on the call documentation, you have to learn everything from A to Z. As soon as you are eligible for call documentation, and your organization eligible, and your proposal is feasible, then you can apply again via the information system of this website. So actually this website has instructions, so you can go through this link and you can look at all instructions which is available in 3 languages, Russian, Kazakh, and English language. So as you can see, instruction how to log in, instruction to principal investigation. So there is a lot of video material you can watch, and you can learn how to use this information system of National Center for Science and Technical Evaluation. This is the important part. This is the first part of the technical part, so I just stop in a few comments. So again, you have to go through all these instructions. Possibly your university, your organization usually provide all these instructions, and they give some tips. The important part is the generation of research idea and hypothesis. So one of our colleagues in LinkedIn, you can see the Leonard Neck, he provided some flowchart of your proposal. And if you go to this announcement in LinkedIn, you can see the different discussions. So many scientists from different part of the world, they provide the comments, and I will suggest you to go to this comment, and you can see a lot of tips how to apply, how to provide, how to write your grant proposal. If you can tell shortly, so you have to answer this question when you propose your scientific project. So why it's important is research, what are you going to do, and what are you going to study, how are you going to conduct and complete your project, how feasible is this project, and what are the risks, and what will be the final result and output in the project, what research will be project use, so on. So this is the type of questions you have to ask. Here is also some tips for the introduction. So what can you write for introduction? How your project going to be contribute to the science knowledge and your significance, your literature review, approach of the methodology, budget, feasibility, and schedule. This is just general information for any proposal you want to do. Based on your research profile, it can be like database, like retrospective study, it can be prospective study. So you can just go through this PICO or FINER. That means population, intervention, comparison, outcome, what kind of population you want. So the first part is the most preferable for the retrospective studies, and the second part, feasibility, interesting, novel, ethical, relevant, is the mostly can be applicable for the prospective studies. Of course, the more about how to create research hypothesis is very important. And recently, last week, I gave talk about research hypothesis, research methodology with statistical analysis and academic writing. So as you can see, you can go through this lib. I hope Alamjan and others will send you this link if you want to watch my previews. So I was talking about in this presentation research hypothesis, research methods, tips, how to write research article at the end of your finalize your proposal. So it's a very important part, and I suggest you to watch this video before. So to date, we were able to complete 3 grants. So 2 grants coming from Nazarbayev University. One of them is the CRP grant, which means within the Nazarbayev University, one of the external Kazakhstan university can be a collaborator, and we already finished one ministry MS grant. So of course it is a teamwork. I can say that I was do this for myself. We have a team, and it's very teamwork. So we successfully completed, and as you can see, the research output, how many abstracts and papers we published at the end of these projects. And currently we have active 4 grants where I am primary supervisor, project PI. So we are doing some epidemiological study. It is the Nazarbayev University grant. We have also some AI-based approach for big data. We have also some government grant from the Ministry of Science Education, also epidemiology of cancers. And we have big grant from Nazarbayev University as a CRP grant. It's the continuation of the first grant. So far we have published a couple of papers. Even the most of the research will be finished this year and next and other. The important part is the grant proposal drafting. So as I already told, in the bidding documentation, or is the call documentation, you can find the application, how you provide your, how you should write your grant. Again, I will not stop in each one because it will take a lot of time to explain each part. But as you can see, you have to provide very short abstract, explanatory notes, and general information. So you can, the general information is very short, and the general concept of your project. So this is the idea how to create. So that's why I provide my previous lecture link for the previous lecture, because you have to provide the concept of your project goal and project objectives, and you have to provide your project tasks. So my suggestion here is to start writing your proposal before the research grant competition is announced. Why? Because as soon as ministry announced the grant call, it will have around 30 days or 40 days. So it is not sufficient to complete your grant. So usually if you are eligible for applying, for example, for this year, usually we make a meeting with our collaborators, and we working on the drafting before the call announcement. It's very important, because as soon as you have first draft before the call announcement, as soon as they announce the call for the grant application, you will complete very easily, because otherwise I think the 30 days or 40 days is too short to complete your grant if you don't have any idea. So my suggestion is to start to propose your draft before the grant is announced. The scientific novelty and science significance of project, as you can see, there is some recommendations for the MS from the Minister of Science and Higher Education. So it's not should exceed 1,500 words. So there is a lot of part. So it's very important to go through all questions and provide your scientific novelties, significance of your project. So at this stage, for example, I will suggest to provide your preliminary data, your concept. For example, you haven't applied yet, but you already have idea. You can test your idea in small sample, or you can test your idea in 1 or 2 case, or even you already did some part of your project. So as soon as you provide that you did something which is very similar, you are able to do that. So you provide your concept, and I would suggest to add your previous publication or your current work. Even it's unpublished, you can put like a preliminary data or preliminary results that will significantly improve your and straighten your application. The research methods and the ethical issues. So It's very important to provide some illustrative material and the flowcharts, because when you provide just writing something, it's going to be like, again, 1,500 words. It's like 3 or 4 pages. So I don't think it's very good in point of reviewer, because sometimes reviewer, they don't read entire your research methods. But if you can provide some illustrative flowchart, what your methods, then it will be very interesting and it will be easy to understand, because you don't know this reviewer who is reviewing your application is in your field, or sometimes they might be out of your field. That's the main issue. For example, your grant is very good, but the reviewer giving your very bad score, because maybe reviewer is not in the field of your application, or reviewer didn't read entire your paper. So try to be as much as simply to provide your research methodology. Provide very clear visual flowcharts or illustrative figures that easily describe your methods. And then try to be independent in all aspects of research methods. For example, I understand that you want to create very super idea, but again, if you don't have people who can do in your team or yourself, you will be you will be dependent from the other researchers. You will be dependent from the different organizations. So I will suggest to do something feasible. So if you are dependent from some researcher, for example, that researcher can be leave the country, or that can be not able to join your, or some organization, if you are trusting some organization and your collaborator is single collaborator, and sometimes that may happen in force majeure situations. So if your collaborator says denies working with you, that will be very risky to complete your grant. So try to be independent in all aspects of your research methods. So it's supposed to be feasible that you can do by yourself, by your team, or there should be someone who can replace the team. Research team and project management is very important. Of course, as I told in the call documentation, there will be some important part of your team. So they will ask your supervisor is doing this, is that research, proposed research, is the supervisor's background. Of course, sometimes you are a young researcher, you want to apply, you are first. But again, if you have some published work before you apply, it's very important. So that's why I usually told, please, at least you can publish some review, some notes, maybe something very small, preliminary data that can show that you can do that, you can do this. So because as a project PI, you will be required to have same direction, same medical field or same research field that you apply. And all of your collaborators should be in the team. Here, I usually also suggest to invite your international colleagues, supervisors, and collaborators who are expert in this field, in this research field. I understand sometimes you can't pay as a team for the most of the part, but at least you can involve them as a consultants. They can at least supervise. So that's why your research collaborator is very important, especially research collaborator from Western countries, from European countries, from USA, Canada, Australia, and other, even from Japan. It depends. So it's very important to have your collaborators. So you can ask them to be listed as the consultants, or someone who can at least who have very strong background in your field of application. And then you have to provide responsibility, indicate responsibility for each team members. There should not be someone who are not in the field. Of course, based on the required documentation, they may ask you to the equal distribution for the gender, male and female researchers. They may ask for the equal distribution for the age category, young researchers and the others, and technical part. So this is the very important part, I think, to provide. The next is the research environment. So I already told that you have to provide all capacity of your organization and all capacity of your partners organization. Explain more about the feasibility of your project at your institution, at your partner's institution, if you have partners. So that's a very important part, because reviewers will ask this question again. So after that is proposal part, I will show the reviewers part, what kind of question usually your reviewer ask, before grading your research application. So it's very important to provide what kind of, for example, I am doing mostly big data, so I usually provide, so we have computational high performance computers, we have memory like that, you have the storage, and so on, so on. For example, if you are applying with the patient enrollment, for example, or clinical trial, so you have to provide your hospital how many patients usually your hospital has annually such patient. Is really you can collect the patient from your hospital. Is there any other alternative hospital that can collect for patients? For example, if you remember during the COVID time, most of the hospitals, they closed and they just accepted COVID patients instead of, for example, heart disease patient or diabetes patients or kidney disease patients. So which I was facing this issue during the COVID period. So it is very important to provide all information related to your research topic and research environment. Justification of the requested funding is very important because there will be also reviewers who will go through your application and go through the all justification of the requested funding. So if you look at the call documentation, you will see the several tables. You will see the several tables. You have to fill out them. So that's why we usually use preliminary prepared Excel table to calculate all expenses, and the final version then you can copy paste to the submission system, because if you're going to write in submission system directly, sometimes it's very tricky. It's very tough because if you change something, your final calculation will be mistakenly. So that's why we usually use our preliminary prepared functional Excel table to calculate all expenses related to budget, related to remuneration, salaries, related to expenses for travel, expenses for the consumables, and for recruitment and others. So it's very important. Research, the other part of the final part is the project implementation plan. So for the project implementation plan, you usually provide a Gantt chart. So what do you want to do first year based on your tasks? What do you want to do the second year of your research proposal based on your tasks? And of course, you have to follow them. And complementary to this, you have to also provide some calendar plan for the 3 years. And then again, please, when you create your calendar plan and your task, be as much as possible that you can be feasible. Sometimes you can write, oh, I will publish 10 papers, but it doesn't mean that if you write in your call document, in your application that you are going to publish 10 papers, it doesn't increase the significance of your project. So, identify your expected results based on your aim and research tasks. Be minimal, not maximum, because if you write something maximum, and then you have to do that. For example, if you write that I will create some calculator based on research, but again, your research may be end as soon as you collect your last patient. So when you enroll your last patient, it can be last year. So maybe you don't have time to create something new. So it's supposed to be feasible. Don't write something that you cannot do. It's very important. Be realistic when you're proposing your expected results. Provide required number of publications. So in the call documentation, you can see the required number of publications. So you can put just copy paste. Usually they ask to copy paste. Don't change anything, even comma. If you change something comma, or if you change some percentile, you will be in trouble. So the last part of my presentation is the review process. So I'm also a reviewer in this system. So as you can see, the reviewer, they score 5. So usually they score 5 points. So novelty, relevance, and prospect of the project, that they can give maximum 9 score. Quality and feasibility of the research plan, they can give also 9. So all of these expected results and their significance, competence, and scientific background of the research group, all of these first 4 main questions, the reviewer, they can give maximum 9 score. And there is also the fifth point. You can see the interdisciplinary of the project. They usually give 2 points maximum. It can be 0, 1, or 2. So maximum you can get 38. So as I said, there will be 3 reviewers. The first reviewer is usually international. The second reviewer is usually international. They usually provide their feedback in English for each sections, and there will be last or third reviewer is a national or local. Also, there is another parts. I think they don't grade them, so they don't scoring them. It's justification for the requested funding. Don't increase, just be more realistic. Compliance with the priority of the direction. So it depends what kind of priority of direction your research topic you applied, the strength of your application and weakness. So when you are preparing your proposal, you have to account all these questions. I will go by one by for each, but I don't want to stay here a lot. So the novelty, relevance, and the viability of your project. So as I told, it is a maximum 9 score. So there is very big 2 parts: novelty and relevance of the proposed scientific and technical level project. So usually reviewer provide feedback based on this question: how novel are the hypotheses, how novel are the scientific and methodological problem, how novel the. So I don't want to read everyone, but I will. You can then watch again all these questions. The second part of the first question is the importance, relevance, and the proposed scientific and technical level. So here you can also see how important and the scientific problem that the project solves. How does the project correspond? So I suggest to everyone who write proposal, go through all these questions, because it's very important. If you already cover all these questions, reviewer cannot ask anything. Okay, so it's very important. The second is the quality, feasibility of the research plan. So there is the main 3 parts which reviewers grade based on these questions: quality of your research plan, how sustainable is the research problem. You have to account all risk, what kind of risk can be during your research period. So for example, before the COVID, nobody thought that it can be a real issue for patient collection, for patient enrollment. But most of the prospective studies in patient enrollment, we have issue with that. How clear is the applicant formulating the aim, objective, hypothesis of the plan? So that's why I already provide the link about how to create your aim, your hypothesis, and research plan. The second big part is the quality of research methodology. So it's very important and you have to write very simple, very clear your research methodology. So in previous my slide, I told you please provide informative, illustrative material like illustrative graphics, flow charts, what do you want to use. It's very important, and it will significantly increase the visibility and doability of your research. But again, go through all these questions and do your application already covered all these questions. If you go through all these questions and you already covered all these questions in your application, I think a reviewer will give you the high score. The second is the achievability of results. So it's expected results. So I already told also, don't write anything you cannot do. Don't write anything someone will do for you. So it's very important. And again, go through all these questions. And if you cover all these questions in your application, I think review will give you the high score. The next is expected results and the significance. There's also main 2 parts: the effectiveness and efficiency of the project. So you have to justify your results. So what's their economic, technical impact? What's your social impact? What's your scientific impact? Significance and applicability of your expected results. So someone can also, so your results can be reproducible. So that's why, so again, go through all these questions. Did you cover all these questions in your application? Again, you can miss some questions because if they are not applicable for your grant. But if you go and read again and again, you can see most of the questions are applicable for your proposal. So it's very important to cover all questions related to the part 3. The part 4, it's the last part for the main scores and the competence and scientific background of the research group. Again, they give one significant part for research group. It's very important. So scientific achievements and background of the research group, it's very important. maybe translation for English is not correct, but again, please provide your previous publication of yours and all your collaborators. Again, it's supposed to be very close to your applied research. Research team quality. So that's why I invited to also my previous supervisors in the field from US, from the Europe, from Turkey, because they have a very good background. They have already very good published, very similar peoples, and their H index are very high, so they are top researchers. Of course, inform them that you are going to add them as a research team or as just consultant, and they give their expertise. So the research team is very needs be high quality. And then the third part is the availability of resources and the access to the infrastructure. So this is your research environment. It's very important. So go through again all questions that reviewers use for their report. And if you cover everything from here, then I hope the reviewers will give the highest score. Of course, multidisciplinary is very important. So now, so you can get from here 2 points. Multidisciplinary is very important. So most of the last projects, if you can see, you have to add someone who can do, for example, AI things, who can do mathematical models, for example. So I don't know, based on your research background, you can invite something you can do together with other specialty. So it's very important. As you can see, you can earn 2 points from here. And then justification of the research funding, they also provide some feedback, but they are not grading. I don't know why. But again, in your application, please provide your strong points and weakness. What's the limitation of your research? So you can also before your in your application, you can put the strong points of your application, and then also you can put some limitation, weakness. So okay, you can say that we have some limitation in the data collection, maybe in the patients, but again, it will not decrease the importance of the question and the expected results. So maybe in the next application, you will cover all these limitations and weaknesses of project. So this is related with the peer review process. Actually, I am done. I also suggest to start to write your first paper as soon as you have submitted your proposal. For example, you already submit your proposal, please start to write paper. Maybe it can be review paper, maybe it can be some preliminary results, because if your grant application get accepted, you know, the minister usually give the very late first year, so you can lose time. So if your application accepted, your first paper is already ready. So thank you very much. If you have questions, I'm ready to answer the questions.
Thank you, Dr. Gaipov, for sharing your valuable experience, sharing very detailed advice on grant applications. We'll now move into the Q&A session. I'll be reading out questions that were submitted in the chat during the talks. And if you haven't had a chance yet, you're still welcome to type your questions now. Let us review the questions. Some of the questions were already addressed, but I'm gonna scroll. So Mohit asked, I think it was addressed to Dr. Gaipov. If the application is rejected, do you usually receive the reason? For example, it's unclear if отклонено and возвращено в КН are similar or different, and how they are different, these two feedbacks.
So usually I already told that during the technical review, your technical reviewers, they call you, ask you to improve some parts before the review process go through the scientific review. Sometimes we don't, sometimes they call usually to a mobile or send via. So as soon as you apply, you have to check daily check your email, and also please open the call even if you don't see the recognized number, because they usually call from the land number, not from mobile. And then they usually say that they are experts, technical experts from the National Scientific Grant Center. If your application technical part is okay, they usually send to reviewer. And then, but if you don't update your application based on the technical part, your grant application will be rejected in the first part. So it is like a triage of the projects. But sometimes, for example, there might be from Kazakhstan more than 2,000 applications. It's very difficult to go through the all technical part for the reviews. I understand it's a very huge job for the committee, for ministry, and just single some mistake they reject, so it's really important. Because I understand them, so they want to minimize the number of works which is going to be addressed to the scientific reviewers. Based on the scientific reviewers note, they can reject immediately if your application is not reach the threshold. So threshold depends on number of application and the available funding. So available funding, okay? But if your application get rejected anyway, it can be technical issue, it can be scientific non-significance. You will receive the feedback from so in your grant system, you can find the notes from the reviewers. So you can see what was the reason they rejected. But again, sometimes some strange things happen. For example, external reviewers, they give very high score, really high score, but local reviewer give the very low score. So we can't do anything with that, And then before they show the score, but now you can't see score because they usually hide the score from the graders. So then you can't understand. But when you are reading the feedbacks, you can see why they give the low score. But after these 3 reviewers, your application is supposed to be also discussed in the NNS, National Scientific Committee. But this committee is doing openly in the online website. So you can see your discussion, and they usually provide accept or not accept. Sometimes the reason for rejection is the high volume, high simulated budgeting. So that's why please don't simulate a budget. Please be more realistic. Of course, when you're budgeting your application, you will provide everything, invoices, some quotation you have to provide, and very important.
Thank you so much, Dr. Gaipov. To be mindful of the time, I'm going to address 2 more questions from the chat, and also we have 2 raised hands in the audience. I will give you a word later in the end.
Excuse me, can I add something? So we finished session. We have 5 to 10 minutes, as Aya said, and please, this really was amazing session with 2 non-Russian speaking followers. And if you have any questions, any language you want, in Russian, Kazakh, so go ahead. Yes. So for Q&A session, it's not should be like must not be English at all. Any language that is convenient, please go ahead. Thank you.
I can explain 5 languages.
Going back to the experts evaluation, we have one more opinion raised by Askhad. So some researchers feel that the evaluation process for grants often depends heavily on individual expert opinions, right? Which may introduce some subjectivity. How can we ensure a fairer and more transparent review process, especially in competitive fields like life sciences, where even excellent proposals struggle to stand out?
Yeah, I understand this issue. So I already give some, my points, because the application may be very excellent, but again, we don't know who is the reviewers. We don't know even reviewers is the match for your field or not match. And that's why I suggest to simplify everything as much as possible. Because you don't know reviewer, it's really a merit for your background or no. And then if you go through the reviewers question, usually they guide by this question I showed in my presentation. If you cover, I think that will be very easy to get, high score.
Another question from Wali Khan. He asked if it's allowed to use funding from different resources like government, international organizations, and commercial entities at the same time, and how will the responsibilities be distributed among the parties?
I think there is 2 types of grants, like experimental and the second part is как называется? So you can have co-collaborators. As soon as you have co-funding, they usually give for each 1% of the overall funding. If you has additionally, they will add another one score. So I think if you have collaborators, again, this collaborator should not be for example, you are going to buy some consumables from the company. But if you provide this company as a collaborator, you will be in trouble because it's not correct. Because you want to anyway pay them and they will invest. It's not supposed to be like that. The collaborator can be the real company who can then commercialization of your project. Or for example, you have your own company, you want to invest. I don't know regarding the own company, but the company, there is some financial conflict of interest. You have to look at the financial conflict of interest. But again, if you have additional income for the project, for each % of the project, they will give 1 point, one score. That's good.
Thank you. We would like to also ask a question to Aliya. One question is, what are the unique challenges Kazakhstani researchers face when applying for EU grants like Horizon Europe, and how can they overcome them?
Thank you for the question. Actually, the biggest challenge is language, first of all, English language. And the second one is they need to find partners. So they need to have partners in the EU or associative countries like UK, for example. So researchers who are abroad, who study or work abroad, it's actually a good opportunity to start cooperation with Kazakhstani organizations and your institutions abroad. Because Horizon Europe covers countries like EU or other big countries, and you have opportunity to start projects with your Kazakhstani organizations together and make bigger impact.
Thank you. And how can PhD students or postdocs get involved in writing and co-authoring grants and get more international collaborations? Do you have any suggestions or advice? How can early career scientists improve their networking, international networking?
So I can answer this question. I can answer this question. So as a postdoc or as a PhD student or even master student, if you're doing research, you have a lot of conference. You are visiting conference. So there is a Jalal Mohammadjanov, you can see. So he's my PhD student. So he go through the checklist for the conference. So ethic of the conference, how to participate. So are you going to be participate like a real researcher, or are you going to be participate as a tourist? It depends. So there is some kind of tips. Maybe Jalal can in next for example, in the future presentation, how he created a collaboration and networking, because it is the good opportunity during the conference to get a real to get real collaborator and PIs or supervisors. I think also Ghalmjan recently posted something in the LinkedIn, and there is a discussion. And you can go through, and maybe Ghalmjan can say something for that.
Yeah, also, Aliya, do you want to add anything from your experience? Any advice?
Yes, I agree with my colleague's comment, but also like our researchers, PhD students, postdocs must be more active. Just go and ask if you are interested in partnership, let's do something together. And the partnership will start from such small dialogue.
Amazing, amazing.
And also, I mentioned in my presentation about Cordis portal. So if you go there and if you find organizations which already were in the consortium in projects, you can write them. So you can write to the consortium leader and say, I want to be in the future projects. How can I be part of these projects?
Amazing. That's very useful. Thank you. And we have 2 more questions, last questions from the audience. I think I saw Janar was raising hand. If you still have question, please unmute yourself and join the conversation.
You can use any language to ask question. Можете на русском, на казахском спрашивать.
Ghalmjan, are our audience allowed to unmute themselves? Can you please check?
Yeah, everyone is unmuted, so you can just unmute yourself and go ahead. If not, we can go to Muhit. Yeah, while Janar troubleshooting, Muhit, go ahead.
Hello, everyone. Hello, Dr. Gaipov, Dr. Sembaeva. I'm happy to see you here. So the question for Aliya, so do you think that there might be some sort of like academic inequality in Kazakhstan, for example, either in Horizon or other overseas grants, as well as in Kazakhstan grants, there might be more successful application in some leading Kazakhstan universities, whereas some regional universities or some maybe research centers like in medical field might have least like a portion of this big pizza. And yeah, the same question for Dr. Gaipov.
I think so. First of all, when we talk about Horizon Europe, Kazakhstan is quite far from Brussels. We don't know what is going on there. But member states, especially like organizations which have their subsidiary organizations in Brussels, have a direct contact to colleagues which are working in Horizon Europe, for example. Or they are still part of the system. But because we are quite far from Brussels, definitely it creates inequality. But as I mentioned, if organization starts from something small, from small partnerships, and they start to create this experience, based on this experience, they can get a project that they want.
Can you, Muhit, repeat your question regarding the...
In terms of inequalities, for example, let's say there is as you said, limited amount of money for the each field, and then usually it's like a health, life sciences and health care, and then sometimes maybe some centers like in ophthalmology, let's say, they apply and then they are competing with some medical university, medical faculty in the Bite University, and then there will be huge inequalities, so that like funding, for example, some niche field might lack in terms of research progression, whereas, for example, other fields might be more. I know that this is a competition, but on the other side, we want. Yeah.
Okay, now I understand your question. So that's why now Minister of Science Education, they implemented 2 years of restriction from the grants who already have. So that's why, for example, if I have this year my grant, I started last year, I can't apply for next. That makes some opportunity to do beginners to be appointed, apply for the grant. Of course, this is the real competition for reviewer. They don't select you are from Nazarbayev University or you are from other parts, so they usually select the best. They usually select the best proposals. But again, if you are beginner, so that's why it's very important to involve as a team member of the skilled and professional professors who are have very good, strong background on your project. It's easy to reach out any professor in Kazakhstan, again in Nazarbayev University, and we are open to collaborate. To provide you some tips and some suggestions. And there is no restriction to be the team member as a consultant or something. So you can find, again, I suggest to find who can be the main your competitor. So you can find and you can apply together. But again, because of this issue, so there is the restriction to apply to several grants.
Thank you. We have to close this meeting. It's over an hour now, but I would like to thank all of your thoughtful questions, and special thank you to Dr. Sembaeva and Dr. Gaipov for their generosity in sharing their time and expertise with us today. And before we close, I'd like to once again thank the Kazakh International Science and Technology Association for organizing this important workshop. I hope today's session has sparked new ideas and given you practical strategies to advance your research funding journey, both at home and abroad. Wishing you all success in your future grant applications, and we look forward to seeing you at our upcoming event.